and I'm on a mission to connect with every creative writer in the world. I need your help. The world is constantly changing, which is why it's our duty, no, it's our responsibility to inspire creativity. My creative writing tips, tricks, and strategies are gonna help you become a better writer, so that way you can beat procrastination. Join me on this journey to unite the creative writing industry. And let's inspire creativity in the world together. What does creative writing mean to you? Welcome to Kauffman Writes, the first daily writing live stream for motivation, community, strategy, and maybe a little bit of procrastination. But don't worry, I won't tell anyone. I got you covered. I'm your host, Kauffman, and today is another Write With Me live stream. We're going to be doing a fantasy live stream, super simple. We'll be doing a couple sprints, and I'm super excited to get into it. We're going to start with a 30-minute sprint today. Welcome, friends. I'm streaming a little earlier. Today's probably one of the earliest streams I've done, so we're going to be getting some early writing in. Hey, what's up, Zerby? Welcome to the stream, my friend. Welcome. How's the creativity treating you today? You working on anything? All right, so we're going to be getting into it. I got some good creativity here. I'm got to get myself into the mindset. I'm not always used to writing in the morning. I'm such a night owl. This will definitely throw me off a little bit. But you know what? The great thing is when you're feeling like, oh, I don't know what to write. It's all good. You just push yourself into it. I'm going to just push myself into it. We're going to see what's going to happen. All right. So I'm getting my stuff queued up. Oh no, you're at a dead end. You need any ideas? Any help with your creative? I remember we were chatting about your story the other day, right? Are you still feeling at the dead end at your story? All right, and let's get the music queued up. All right, beautiful. All right, there's our music queued up. What's funny is that even though I need to wake up and get into it, I'm in an intense part of my story. Last Scarecrow, I'm actually in an intense part of it. So I need to get into it ASAP. Pro tip, if you're ever getting into your writing and you're stuck at a part or you're struggling with what to write next, something that always works well for me, I like to first off go back and reread the last little section I wrote. And then I also like to think about what was the last piece of my story that I wrote that I had a lot of fun writing, that I was really vibing out on, or I was really getting into. I'll think of that piece and I'll ask myself, why did I have fun writing that part? Was it the character, the world, the dialogue, or some combination? And then I will take that same concept and I'll use it in this next section of the story. So if I'm ever stuck, I like to do that. Because remember, if we're feeling stuck, we want to focus on what works. We want to focus on the fun and then emulate that emotion and then use that emotion for our creative inspiration. It's all good. Feel free to throw it up here. I'm going to hop into the writing sprint, Zerby, but feel free to throw it up, and I'll see if I can come up with an idea for you after the sprint. Okay, so I got... We're going to start with 30. Actually, let's do 25. I think 25 sounds like a good starting time. Let's start with a 25-minute sprint. That'll be the first one of the day. We got 25, and make sure my banner's correct. All right, perfect. I'm all set. If you're feeling super creative, feel free to join me on the sprint, get some writing done. Otherwise, I'm at a really intense part of Last Scarecrow, so feel free to sit back and I'll write vicariously for the both of us. All right, I got 25 minutes on the clock. Let me make sure you can see this. There we go. All right, I got 25 minutes on the clock, and it's time right now. All right. Wonderful. And perfect. And writing sprint number one. Number one, first writing sprint down. That was a really good 25 minutes. I am at a really intense, great part of my story. I'm about, I think 76, probably 77% in right now. And I've been working towards this scene for quite a while. It I really thought for a while, how was I going to make this part of the story as intense as possible while still like it's only going to get worse from here? Because right now we have the scarecrow who's basically pinned against the tree. Both of his arms have been pulled out, so he's basically sitting there without his arms, and he basically watched as the otter, who was one of the actually coolest characters in the middle part of the story, had appeared with the obsidian blade and basically before him trapped the pixie in a glass and basically killed Stretch, the snake, basically pinning the snake's body to the tree. And they're watching. And then when Gore charges and clearly Adia is going to kill him too, she reaches for the blade, and the blade itself, which has been this like continuous, it has this like blue black type aura. I kind of get, if any of you are fans of the Warcraft series, Warcraft 3, I think I kind of use that idea that I really loved from Arthas's blade. There was a concept there that I really loved. I'm kind of using a similar idea. Probably going to expand it more into its own vibe in the second draft. But essentially, the blade itself shimmered. It went up. It like lit up brightly, and as the light disappeared, then Audie disappeared, and it was Skunk, their companion from a while. Skunk appeared, and then clearly there's some type of weird magic thing that goes on with that blade. So we'll get to explore that in a little bit. But now we're in this like weird like Gore's like there in a pile of blood of Stretch's blood. Pebble's in a bottle that's soundproof, so she's lying away. Quilt has not been seen since Scarecrow woke up from the vision, and Scarecrow's just basically armless. Once again, Scarecrow can't do jack shit. All right, let's see. I forgot to add a little break timer. I'm gonna add a quick break timer, add a timer. Awesome. Let's do an 8-minute break. Woo! All right, there we go. Break. Let's do it. Beautiful. So do a quick little 8-minute break, then we'll hop back into writing sprints. By the way, what's up, Sabar? Thanks for dropping by the stream, my man. I hope you're able to get some writing in yourself, my dude. Hopefully you're able to get in some writing. It's it's Thursday. It's kind of like it's that day of the week where we gotta power through the rest of the work week to hopefully get there. Let's see, Zerby, how to make my character face his worst nightmare in his current location. Ooh, that sounds fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. How to make him face his worst nightmare. Ooh, is it? So let's see. You said it was a horror story vibe. Oh God, I love horror stories. Usually when from the horror genre, usually when the character has to face his worst nightmare, I don't know whether this is like a literal like he has to face the specific nightmare like a flashback. A lot of the times what I see from the horror genre is the protagonist is generally forced to that point when either somebody else is killed, when they have a close person is killed, or they're basically forced into a rock bottom. So whatever their hero journey, whatever their character journey is, usually the character journey gets to a point where the killer or whoever the antagonist is basically forces them to have to confront whatever their greatest weakness is. The weakness is generally then a result, and it's basically visualized through whatever their worst nightmare is. Yeah. Yeah, that's always a good one. I think if I was trying to subvert expectations and do something fun, I'd probably have the character. If I was just writing like a classic horror story and taking place in the real world, I would probably have the character. How would I subvert expectations? I would. I'd probably have the character. You know what? I'd probably do a type of story where the bad guy is actually the character themselves. I love that type of concept. The oh, what's it? Secret Window. Love the Secret Window concept where it's where oh, a little bit Secret Window and also Shutter Island. Love Shutter Island. The book is great. The DiCaprio movie is fun too, but the book's amazing. But I love that horror movie, thriller horror, where the bad guy is actually the hero, and it's really a result of mental health. Um, so I would probably do something along those lines if I was writing a horror story and subvert expectations with it, like giving clues throughout that it's all these other people and doing this whole fun thing. Let's see. Zerby, also, how long do you tend to make your stories? So that's a great question. The length of each of my stories, Zerby, changes. Every single story I do, the length changes because I think the length of a story. So, two things to keep in mind, actually. Two things. First off, the first thing to keep in mind is what is what's the right way to word this? What every story has its own should have its own length. I think there's a length that works for each story. Some of my short stories would probably be like maybe 20 to 30,000. Maybe that's what, like 50 pages, possibly. Well, clearly, Scarecrow is one of my longer stories. I mean, it's at almost at 100,000, which is probably about 300 pages or so, maybe 350 if I really counted it out. I mean, I think what is the page count on it? It shows. Oh, I don't get a page count. I think I turned the page count off. Well, my page count is off anyways because the font is way bigger. So the first thing is to keep in mind is what's the length, what's going to be the right amount for the story, because every story is going to have a different amount or going to have a different length. So it kind of depends like what your story is. I'm a fan of in the rough draft. Don't worry about word counts. Don't worry about limits. Just tell the story that you have to tell. If that story takes place over 10 pages, great. That's the story. If that story takes place over 1,000 pages, that's the story. And then in the second draft, you get to kind of cut back and figure out like, okay, like what do I need to keep? What's going to be central to the character? So that's the first thing to keep in mind is what is right for the story. The second thing to keep in mind is who is your readership or audience if you're writing a script. For if you're just writing the story for yourself, it doesn't matter, right? You do whatever you want. But if you're writing your story for like a school assignment, or if you're writing your story to get published, or if you're writing your story to put on the screen and for people to watch, then you have to take into consideration what is the average, what is the typical length for your genre of story in whatever format you're trying to get it out there. So for the fantasy genre, the average word count for a fantasy genre book in the current market ranges between 90,000 to 120,000 words. That's the average. Of course, some stories are shorter, some are longer, but the pure average is 90 to 120. I researched that a while back. I love the fantasy genre. So keeping that in mind, I knew that the story that I wanted to tell, I wanted to try to keep it within that 90 to 120,000. So when I was conceptualizing Scarecrow in the very beginning, in the first, 30 pages, I thought of what is the best story to tell about this Scarecrow, and then what do I think would fall within that word count. And I conceptualized the journey, the outline, and everything that happened. And that's how I came up. Right now, it's at about just under 100,000, about to hit 100K words. And the story itself will probably the rough draft will probably end up at 110, 120. I'm like getting closer to the end. But the once it's edited down, it'll probably be closer to 100 is my guess. So great question, Zerby. Thanks for asking. And actually, Zerby, something interesting. I actually started the Last Scarecrow. I'll drop this stuff. So I started the Last Scarecrow as a free write on January 1st, based off this image. I'll drop. So that image that's in the background was actually an image that I pulled up randomly in January when I was doing free writes. Like I'll do images and then do some free write based off it. So I pulled up the image, I did a free write, and I came up with this like little like 3-page short story about a scarecrow that was in a field and a crow came by and took their hat. And then I kept writing that over the course of January. I expanded it. And then by like the end of January, I knew I had like a fun story on my hands. And that's when I decided like, hey, this is what I'm going to focus on. So it started off with a free write, turned into a short story, and now it's the novel that you see it is today. I have now, let's see, today is episode, what's that? I'm on episode 139 of Kauffman Writes, but because I stream the different segments, I want to say that I have been now live streaming consecutively for 950. I have now live streamed consecutively for 150 days. So, whew, man, I'm like, what a doozy. It's currently let's see, it's currently 15,000 words, and I don't know if it's at a dead end. Interesting. Why do you say that? Are you kind of feeling like it sounds like you're kind of feeling stuck with where you're at? Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That always sucks. If my advice, Zerby, whenever I feel like I get stuck in a story, I'll set it aside for maybe like a week or two and then come back to it for a pair of fresh eyes. Or I'll go get feedback from like a community. I'll try to get feedback from somebody else to kind of get some like generate some fresh ideas and provide insight. It's finished, but it doesn't feel finished. Why do you say that? I'm like, I feel so confident that I can problem solve any story. If you want Zerby, what I'd recommend, oh, the end makes no sense. Okay. So usually if you've written a scene and there's something about it that just doesn't feel right, let me throw myself back up here. So if you're writing a scene and something doesn't feel right, what I recommend, because you said the end. What I always recommend is go back to the plot, go back to your outline of your story, and look at the different beats. Look at, first off, does the core hero story, the hero's journey, does it make sense? Does it feel like each of the beats are a clear progression? Because we want to keep in mind that the beginning moment of the hero's journey should be the exact opposite of the ending beat, right? Hero starts in the world, hero goes through a journey, hero overcomes it and becomes the best version of themselves. So if you look at the ending and the ending beat doesn't match the beginning, then that means it's more a structural problem. Whereas if it's just a matter of like, oh, I'm reading the ending and the ending just doesn't just feels like it sucks. Maybe it's just a matter of like, you just need to rewrite the ending. Well, the end, there isn't really a hero. That's the thing. Well, I would challenge that. I would challenge that. So my guess, because a lot of times people will say that it's probably a non-traditional type of story, which is actually super cool. I love that type. There probably is a hero, is my guess, or not a hero, but a protagonist, because every story follows a protagonist. But it could be an anti-hero. It could be like a serial killer. There's probably a type of protagonist, but my guess is you're probably telling like a really unique, cool story, and it's a different type of protagonist. Yeah, I would, Zorby, what I'd recommend is if you're feeling stuck, either rewrite the ending or you're more than welcome to submit an excerpt for on Saturday's show. We do the story and critique show. I accept free submissions every Saturday. I do the readings. So I do the live readings and then I do critiques. You should definitely submit an excerpt if you want. We'd love to give you some feedback and help you out if you'd like. Or you're always more than welcome to kind of throw up your how do I do that? Great question. So let me throw up, let's see, I didn't mean to do, I wasn't planning on doing an ad for it right now, but let me go throws that up really quick. Perfect. So there's the ad right there. So essentially, Zerby, I'll throw it in the comments as well. Basically, our Saturday is the story and critique show. It's one of the most popular streams I do every week. It's basically a free thing for the community where I do live story readings and critiques. It's so much fun. Everybody, I usually get a lot of our writing community will show up for it. It's a great experience. What you want to do is you want to put together an excerpt. You can do it as long as you want and then send it to the below email, Kauffman at thecreativeghost.com. I'll also throw it in the comments. Perfect. And I just threw that in the comments as long. Yeah, so basically, Zerby, you can make it as long or short as you want. I give every story 20 minutes. So it's basically however long I can get through. I do 10 minutes of reading and then a 10-minute critique. So on average, I can generally get through about probably like 5 to 7 pages. So I usually recommend doing about like a 5 to 10 page excerpt, and it's whatever I can read in 10 minutes. So, and then just send that over to me. Just make sure to include the title. You already said it was the genre. Just remind me what genre it is in the email. And yeah, I'd love to take a look at it. So that'd be super cool. I'd love to dig into it and see if maybe we could help you out, help you problem solve. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Feel free. You could always send the whole story. Just make sure, like, let me know in the email if you want me to start at the very beginning of it and just see how far I can get, or if you want me to start in the middle. Some writers, like a lot of our community, will resubmit every weekend or every other weekend, and I'll slowly get through their story over time. So that's a thing some of the community will do. I try to balance new writers, new story submissions with our community members. So that way new writers can always feel free to submit. There's a couple stories where we've gotten through like a good like third of the short story just because they've resubmitted over time. That'd be super cool. Yep. That's the Saturday. Let's see. The story and critique shows Saturday stream. Great question. Let's see. Let me pull up the schedule real fast. Let's see, where am I at? Oh, perfect. All right. So you can see, I just pulled up my schedule really quick. So for this Saturday, story and critique show is 3 p.m. So this is all mountain times. Story critique show will be 3 p.m. mountain time. If you submit a story, I will basically reach out to you and I'll connect with you on Saturday morning. And I'll just let you know I've accepted your submission and that your story's set for the show. I think right now I have about 5 to 8 submissions for this weekend, but you should definitely like send over the excerpt ASAP. Definitely. So I'd love to take a look at it. That would be super cool. But yeah, that's my schedule for this week. So awesome. But yeah, thanks for that, Zerby. I would love to. I'd love to take a crack at it. And with that being said, let's hop into the next writing sprint. Okay, go back to a writing sprint. Let's reset. So that was good. I actually really liked the 25-minute thing. I think I'm gonna do another 25-minute sprint. I was really happy with that. I was really, really happy with that sprint. Perfect. So that was great. And then, all right, and let me throw back up the music. And let's throw up some different vibes. So we got a little faster. Yep, this is a good one. Awesome. All right, and I got 25 minutes on the clock. We got our second writing sprint in, so come join in and we'll get back into it. And it's time to write now. All right. All right. That was definitely one of those sprints where I went way over. I was like, I know I went way over that time. I was like, it was one of those chapters where I could feel that I was just like, I had to get to the end of that beat. I had to get to the end of that moment. I know I'm so guilty about going over on some of those sprints. But man, I was like, that scene was bomb. That scene was fire. Oh man, I am so glad what I pumped out with that scene. Like I had been waiting to write that scene for such a long time, and literally it like hit all the emotional highs and lows that I was wanting between Skunk's reveal, the Skunk and Audie reveal. So Skunk, we come on the end of Scarecrow learning about the truth behind Quilt's reveal in the previous chapter. The Skunk Audie reveal stretches untimely demise, and then the clear lead-in that now Scarecrow has to go to the demon, or else not only will all the creatures die, but most of all, Pebble and Gore. Their lives are at risk. So it was like the perfect ending. I knew that is what I needed to do. And we are clearly going to be going. We're clearly in the third act as Scarecrow is going to have to figure out how to go find the first demon. The story started out with Scarecrow by himself. Once again, we are left with the lone Scarecrow. What a perfect way to have some fun in the third act. Oh, hey, what's up, Marta? Welcome, welcome. Say, what is the stream already on? Sorry for being late, but it's too early. You know what? I was surprised by that too, actually. When I looked at the analytics and I looked at the data, I'm like, wow, people are more on Thursday morning. Like, I was actually super surprised. But it's definitely worth trying because Thursdays are usually the really slow day. So it's definitely been good. It's been a really good stream. I got some really good writing in. Really good writing in. So really great stream today. Definitely had a lot of fun. And that's wrapping up all that I got for you today. Make sure that if you're coming through for, as I think towards creative writing on the morrow, I'm thinking of, let me pull this up. If you're thinking towards to the morrow, oh, that's not a good look. Let's go that way. Perfect. So there's my schedule for tomorrow. Come join me for story time as we hop into the next reading of Fourth Wing. It'll be a lot of fun. Make sure to like the stream on your way out. And that is all that I got for you today, writer friends. Don't forget, words are wind, but stories are forever. I'm Kauffman, and I'll catch you on the morrow. Stay creative, writers.